JetBlue will launch its new direct route from New York to Hyannis next month. Town Manager Tom Lynch will present the FY15 operating budget during this week's Town Council meeting, and the solar array at the landfill is nearing completion. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, May 21st, 2014. I'm Sarah Mannel. The Airport Commission is working to finalize the lease with JetBlue. The airline will launch its new direct route from New York to Hyannis next month. Airport Commission member John Griffin says a final agreement should be ready soon.
And airport managers waiting, this is again current as of May 7th, waiting to hear back from JetBlue on the actual space they'll occupy before finalizing the lease. It'll comprise approximately 734 square feet. This is out front here. The lease would normally be $35 a foot annually, but as part of the incentive package to attract new air service for the first season here, that'll be complimentary as part of our incentive. JetBlue has chosen Rectrix aerodrome centers to provide ramp and ticketing services to the terminal. They're going to require an air stair, and that'll be provided by either JetBlue or Rectrix for the initial season, as the airport would have to appropriate capital funds. The inaugural flight, and this will be, heads up everybody, June 26th. There will be a departure ceremony in New York and an arrival/departure ceremony here in the BMA terminal. We expect water cannon welcome for the airport, the aircraft upon taxiing in and land from our CFR group over there. And ribbon cutting, speeches, gift bags, and this will be at 2 p.m. That's 1,400 hours on that date, with a departure at approximately 3 p.m.
To learn more about the new route, you can visit jetblue.com. The FY15 operating budget is complete. Finance Director Mark Milne says Town Manager Tom Lynch will present the proposed budget to Town Council during this week's meeting.
For the general fund, I think we're looking at a budget increase of about $4.6 million, 3.3% across the board, all departments. And the enterprise funds brings the total budget up to about almost $170 million. Altogether it's a pretty large budget. It's just it's reflecting the size of the town. So, we'll do the presentation tomorrow night, and then start the public hearings on June 5th.
Milne says there is a focus on public safety in the FY15 operating budget.
That area of the budget is increasing more so than any other area. We have an investment in making sure that we keep the 5 police officers that were formerly grant funded on board by providing the funding now from the general fund. And we're going to provide additional resources for the police department for vehicle replacement, technology replacements, and making sure that the substations in Hyannis and the one that will soon be opened in Marston's Mills are operational and part of their budget every year going forward. So there's quite a bit of investment to keep the police department staffed to adequate levels and to ensure that's public safety.
Milne says we will also see an increase in the operating budget for the Department of Public Works.
Recognizing the amount of infrastructure that we have and the need to maintain that infrastructure, we're going to be providing additional resources to them for street light maintenance and emergency repairs to private roads, catch basin cleaning, and vehicle and equipment replacement as well, because they have a whole fleet of aging vehicles and equipment that they use to maintain the roadways and facilities. And we're way behind in upgrading the equipment in that department, so we're infusing some more dollars there to allow them to have a little more aggressive equipment replacement program next year.
Milne says this year's operating budget will shift a few positions between various town departments.
there's almost a two FTE full-time equivalent increase in personnel, but that's a result of what's happening in the police department mostly. There is, with the 5 new positions coming on board with the general fund financing, we've actually gone through the departments and identified several other positions targeted for elimination, and the personnel reductions that we've targeted total almost $220,000. So there have been some elimination of positions as well. There's also been some reorganization of positions that we feel would provide a more efficient and effective operation for the town next year. So several positions are going to actually be shifted from one area of the operation to another. For example, the property management coordinator from growth management is going to be transferred to finance. And we have a engineer's position that's in growth management that will be transferred to public works, and some division assistant from growth management to community services to help community services department with some administrative responsibilities.
Town Manager Tom Lynch and Finance Director Mark Milne will give a budget presentation during tomorrow night's Town Council meeting. That meeting will be held at 7 in the Town Hall hearing room. It will air live right here on Channel 18. Well, several solar projects are nearing completion in town. Energy Coordinator Richard Elrick says the projects will help to greatly reduce the town's energy bill.
These are all CVEC projects. The Cap landfill is a round 1 CVEC project, which included arrays in a number of different towns, primarily on Cap landfills. And then round 2 includes the airport project, as well as the senior center, the ground-mounted system there, and rooftop systems, roof-mounted systems for the West Villages Elementary School and the high school. So it's a lot of work, and one of the things that it's sort of been fun that I've been working on lately is preparing an FAQ sheet for each of the projects, and been working on most recently the Cap landfill, because that'll be the one that really well, certainly it's one of those that's most visible because everybody sees it when they go there. And some of the things we're trying to talk about in the FAQ is essentially in as clear a language as we can, because some of the issues regarding net metering credits and all of that can be fairly technical. But most people want to know, how large is it, how much electricity it's going to produce, how much benefit to the town. And again, when we talk about particularly the Cap landfill project, this is a 4 megawatt size system. It's going to produce approximately 4,117,000 kilowatt hours of energy each year, and that's enough to power about 680 homes. And it's going to, as I've mentioned many times, produce a lot of value and benefit for the town, somewhere in the range of $275,000 to as much as perhaps $300,000 a year in energy savings. So these are all exciting projects. Some of the other issues that questions that people will have answers for when they read the landfill FAQ sheet. Will my electric bill go up or go down as a result of these CVEC projects? Does the electricity produced by the solar project stay on the Cape? What happens after the power purchase agreement contract term ends? So, and then of course, one of the things that naturally I, as the energy coordinator, and our Renewable Energy Commission are concerned about is the amount of CO2 reductions that come as a result of the project. And very quickly, approximately 3,500 metric tons of CO2 emissions will be offset by the renewable energy that's being produced at that landfill project, and that's the equivalent to the annual greenhouse gas emissions from 743 passenger vehicles, 1,265 tons of landfill waste, and 397,000 gallons of gasoline consumed. So it's a huge amount of greenhouse gas emissions that will be realized with the project.
Elrick says installation of the solar array at the landfill is finished. Once NSTAR completes an inspection of the array, it will be hooked up to the grid and begin generating energy. We'll be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program Barnstable this morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll get a preview of tomorrow night's Town Council meeting and hear from Peter Cross, a longtime Barnstable resident, as he shares his memories of Barnstable in honor of our 375th anniversary. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.